Hey guys, it's Greg with By the Bootstraps, btbootstraps.com. Check out the store, check out social media, links will be below. Today is 9/11, 2018, or 2019, sorry. Made a fart there. It's hard to believe it's been 18 years since the attack on our nation, the Twin Towers coming down, the Pentagon being hit and things like that. And I wanted to make a quick video because, did a video yesterday regarding the Taliban and the ISIS and stuff like that, and just how things kind of panned out, and the fact that our president decided to bomb the living crap out of that island that those ISIS terrorists were at, which, good job. However, excuse me. However, it just so happened to coincide with how, the fact that 9/11 was literally the very next day. And, this channel being what it is, with making videos, with making, statements and things like that regarding first responders and military members and things like that. I mean, it's one of those, like, you have to talk about it. And I look back and, think to myself, man, it's really weird that, again, it's been 18 years, When 9/11 happened, I have, like, one of the strangest 9/11 stories. Just like from the people that I know, obviously people who were there and the lives that were permanently affected, they clearly have, much deeper, I don't want to say appreciation, but a much deeper understanding about the events that unfolded that day. But, when 9/11 happened, I lived in an apartment building right outside of downtown Minneapolis in this area called Loring Park. It literally is like right beside downtown. You could walk a couple minutes and you're in downtown. And I didn't even know 9/11 even happened that day. I was at my apartment, and for whatever reason, I never left my apartment at the time. I didn't watch TV. I didn't have cable, couldn't afford it. That's one of the reasons why I didn't have it. And didn't really have internet, an internet service. Again, couldn't afford it. I was, 18 and broker than hell. I just so happened to be off work that day and spent the day at my house. I forget what I was doing, maybe playing video game, playing my bass guitar, and doing other things like that. But I never left the house that day. So the very next day, September 12th, I wake up, had no prior knowledge that 9/11 even happened. I remember walking to go to the bus stop, which was right in downtown, outside the Target Center, or outside the Target building that's in downtown, which I believe is off of Nicollet and 9th or something like that, maybe 7th. And if you've ever been to downtown Minneapolis, especially in the summer and fall, that place is packed all the time. You got all those corporation headquarters that are there, you've got all the business people that are coming and going, you got all the restaurants and all the shopping centers that are on that, on that strip of Hennepin Avenue or Nicollet Avenue. And so it's a very busy, and I mean busy, location. About the only time you ever saw it where it wasn't busy was maybe Sunday evenings or something like that, when like there was no Vikings or Twins or Timberwolves or something like that. It was like just like normal weekend days. But even then, there's still people coming and going to bars and things like that. So here I am. It's like mid-morning, probably like 9 o'clock or so, where this place should just be literally packed during the week. And I'm walking through, and it's like a ghost town. Like there's no one there. And I'm going, wow, this is so weird, and I just had like this feeling like, what the hell is going on, because I've never seen anything like this. And I get to the Target, and I just so happen to be walking on the adjacent side of where the Target's at, which usually I didn't do that. I usually walk on the same side the Target was. But for some reason, I was walking on the adjacent side, and just so happened to pass by the Star Tribune little newspaper box stand, the one where you put the dollar in and you grab, get the newspaper, and they have the headline of the day, like the paper. And I'll never forget looking at the paper, and on the front cover it showed the two towers before they collapsed. Obviously the planes had hit because you had the smoke that was billowing out of it, and it said right there on the headline, 40,000 people dead in New York. And I just like, holy shit, what the hell? And so I get to work. I was taking public transportation. No one was on the bus. I was literally on the bus by myself and the bus driver. And there was this eerie, like, no one was talking to each other. Like, I wasn't talking to the bus driver, he wasn't talking to me. You know, they didn't have a radio on the bus, so it's not like I could hear like what was going on. So again, all I saw was the 40,000 people dead in New York, which thank God that wasn't the case. But they were assuming at the time that there was going to be that many people, because I think naturally there would have been that many people in the Twin Towers at that, usually on that time. So I get to work, and I worked at the Home Depot, which is in St. Louis Park, which is only like 5 miles away, but it was like a 50-minute bus ride or something like that. You know, there was hardly any traffic on the road. Like it was like desolation town. And again, this was in the middle of the week, so it typically be swamped with people. And I get to work, and there's no one in the store except for the employees. You know, and I'm like, what? You know, what the hell is going on? I go back to the break room area, and they had a TV that was set up, and it was on, I think it was on CNN that day, and it just kept looping, 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 looping. The plane flying into the tower, the second plane, and then the towers collapsing. And that's like when I first saw and heard about the 9/11, about what was going on. Prior to that, like I said, I was completely oblivious. Got up to speed pretty quickly, obviously. And here we are, 18 years removed from that, you know, and it's amazing, like the things that have changed in our lives, you know, and like the impact that it's had on our lives. You know, I was only 18 years old at the time, and here I am now 36. And, you know, I think about like, before that we didn't have TSA, you know, we didn't have Homeland Security, we didn't have all the different department agencies, you know, communicating with each other. They were all kind of their separate entities. Part of the reason why this thing happened. You know, there was the mistrust of certain, you know, certain fractions of the world. You know, you didn't have, like, we knew that Islamic terrorists existed, but I don't think there was like that level of mistrust of people who were, you know, from those countries. I remember hearing about the discrimination cases that were coming out where people were attacking, you know, Muslims and things like that because they assumed that, oh, he's a Muslim, must be a terrorist, which I know those were rarities, that wasn't the norm, but I mean, it happened. You know, there's so many things that changed, and the impact that that had was substantial, beyond belief. I mean, 3,000 Americans like that in one day. You know, how many families were devastated? I mean, not just the 3,000 people, but the firefighters that went in and got killed, the police officers, the first responders, EMTs and things like that, you know. And then everything that's happened since then means we've been at war in some capacity since 9/11, you know, in the Middle East. I mean, I know we had conflict in the Middle East beforehand, but it really, I would say, it escalated and ratcheted up and went to a whole different extreme. You know, one of my best friends at the time joined the Army because of 9/11. You know, I knew people personally who volunteered to serve this nation, to retaliate against what happened to us on 9/11. Some of those people haven't made it back. You know, they died. I've met, you know, plenty of people who I knew personally who went over at the beginning of the Afghanistan and Iraq invasion and stuff like that, and they came back and they're not the same person. You know, that's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about, you know, making these videos and talking about things with veterans, which I wish there was like more stories that we could. But it's one of the reasons why I started this whole entire like business and process. It wasn't just to make money on shirt designs and things like that. It was to talk about like how we reacted to these kind of things. You know, like I said, I've had friends, close friends, who enlisted and went overseas, and you know, some of them didn't come back. You know, most of them did, but some of them didn't. You know, I know people personally who went over and they came back, man, but they weren't the same person. You know, like the things that they've seen and had to do, and you know, the stress and the turmoil. I mean, it really affected them in an overwhelmingly negative way. I mean, they're proud that they served, and I'm proud of them that they served. You know, and some of them still actually do continue to serve to this day. You know, some of them made careers out of the military, which, you know, good for them, man. I have nothing but respect. So, you know, it's an amazing how a single event, you know, brought our country together and galvanized our country. You know, it didn't matter what side of the aisle you were on, didn't matter if you were male, female, black, white, it didn't matter, man. They just, you know, they came together, and, you know, for a while there, they were, you know, galvanized in this unity in this country. And it's kind of sad how some of that is slowly fading away. And it's not even just like slowly fading away. I mean, you have children who were kids at the time, or people who were born after 9/11, where they don't even know about it. They know it's a date. You know, I guess part of that could be kind of like how we might feel about Pearl Harbor when they talk about, like, the older generations, when they talk about the attack of Pearl Harbor, December 7th. For us, we look at it as like, oh, okay, that was a bad event in history. But for those people who lived it, you know, the words can't describe like how they felt during that process. And I think that same emotional connection that they have, the same that we have, those of us who are here, which I would hope if you're watching this, that would be the majority of the people who tune into this channel. I really don't think that there's a lot of 16, 17-year-olds checking out these videos. I just don't think it's their forte of, you know, in entertainment per se. So I would like to think that most of the people who are watching this have some kind of connection to it, and that we could express to the next generation and generation after that what happened and what all we've sacrificed for this. You know, this channel is relatively new, and I'm hoping to expand it and start doing more with it and start uploading more videos and making it more entertaining. That requires a budget, obviously, which unfortunately I don't have, hence why you get videos like this. You know, but if I could do more with it, I certainly would. And I'm hoping to get to that point, because I'd like to start doing something where, you know, as the anniversary comes around, we actually do more for this. You know, we bring people on and maybe could do some interviews and talk to guys who have gone overseas and things like that, and see how that's worked out. But I mean, I am more than very grateful for the sacrifices of the people that died on 9/11, but also more than grateful for the people who have continued to fight, who have sacrificed, you know, great losses to themselves, bodily harm, PTSD, or even the ultimate sacrifice, defending this nation and retaliating against what's happened to us. Anyway, just a quick video. Comment below, let me know what you guys think. I'll talk to you later.